boys, let's go! Destiny calls, and the dice hit the table. The heroes awaken, and the nerds are ready.
All right, welcome back to Ready Nerd Go. My name is Alex. This is Enko.
Morning, folks.
Now, we tried something different than last week in that we didn't play the music directly in the stream, or in the recording, sorry, because as I'm sure you'll understand, we played it, it cut out.
A bit of a mess.
I reacted, and then when I was listening to it back in the edit, it actually never stopped playing. I tried to hide it a bit. I don't know how well I did, but ultimately it probably made it a little bit less sense than normal. Well, I say normal. Yeah, I'm just gonna add it back in. So welcome back. This is a marginally better intro for the new year. I think this is the second show of the new year. I think the first one came out on January 4th. So this is almost a timely topic. Kind of. It is going to be about crowdfunding and RPGs. It was initially spawned because Anko had said, I'm spending way too much money on Kickstarter on board games or on RPGs. And then like, well, hey, we might be able to talk about that.
Yeah, so it was originally going to be just more of a ranting on God, we spend way too much money on these things. But then thinking about it, it's like actually there's the broader topic about just like backing projects in general that we can talk about that can really help some people, because there's some tips to go into for it, but we'll get into that.
We'll get there. And we did decide we'd try and be a bit deliberately positive this year. Not that we were a negative show, but that we're trying to not just rant about things that offering alternate. I can't speak this morning without offering alternatives.
Yeah,
And
the world sucks right now. We can be a little happier when we're
Oh,
doing this.
yeah, exactly. Right. So I'm I've never crowdfunded an RPG uh, in
Like,
it on any of the platforms, and I know there's more than one because I
yeah,
did
like
crowdfund a book somewhere.
we will be using Kickstarter as like, our go-to example because it is like 90% of the industry at this point. I even that number is pulled out of my ass. Do not quote that. But with this does apply to pretty much any form of crowdfunding. So I'm curious. You said you backed a book. Have you really backed much at all, or is like
Um,
backing stuff more?
yeah, no, I backed a book like an actual novel
Mm,
because it was I don't even remember why I did it. It just looked interesting, and so I backed it. It finally came. I read it. The bonuses and everything. Like, I don't mean to be this person already, but what I paid wasn't worth what I got because you've also got to factor in shipping.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Whereas when you can get something from Indigo or Chapters or whatever, somewhere that has free shipping, it does mitigate a lot of the cost, right? So if you're also paying shipping from a publisher in the States, if those of you don't know, folks, we are both in Canada. Funnily enough, we actually live in the same city. We're just not doing this in the same room. Um, yeah, so the shipping was about the price of the book, and I didn't mind it at the time, but I wouldn't want to continuously back that series in that way.
There's the one thing on that thought, like a lot of people, especially when they first start getting into crowdfunding, it's like, oh, if I get this right now, then it'll be cheaper than when it hits the shelves.
No,
Not really the right way to think of it. Like there are definitely times where you'll get like exclusive stuff from it, or we can get into that in a minute. But like you'll get exclusive stuff, or you might get it cheaper than when it hits retail. But if you go in with that mindset, you're gonna get disappointed fairly
severely.
often just because like Alex just said, shipping is a nightmare, especially because a lot of these guys are small producers who are can't afford like those big cheap shipping methods. So think of it more as just you are helping make sure that this thing you find interesting becomes a reality, not necessarily, ooh, I'm getting a discount.
Yeah, and I've backed comics before, and it's always a case of I'm backing this early so the creators can have some kind of funding to pay whatever part they need to pay.
Yeah.
If if you really need to get it at a discount, then for a comic especially, you back the PDF version. It works out a little bit cheaper, but you only get the PDF version when you're backing it. You wouldn't get any of the other freebies, benefits, whatever, like stickers, things like that. And it can still take some time to come. And if you're just doing the PDF version, again, like in my mind, like, well, if I'm just doing PDF, why wouldn't I just throw a couple bucks at them, less than what I'm going to be paying for the PDF on this specific tier, and then just wait for the media to come out? I I am going to assume anyone listening to this has a rough understanding of how crowdfunding works
I was
because
just gonna say we might want to give that a quick,
yeah, okay.
explanation.
This is bare bones in a nutshell. Crowdfunding effectively means that if I'm crowdfunding a project, or if Anchor is crowdfunding a project and he puts it up on Kickstarter, again, as just our general example, Anchor is then asking us to say, hey, I need X number of dollars to finish this project. And we're like, great, I'll give you $5. And Anchor's like, great, I'm going to give you a PDF of my project. If you give him $10, hey, I'm going to give you a physical copy of my product of my project, and so on. And the
Yeah.
more you spend,
Now,
theoretically, the more you get.
now there
I
are two very important caveats to that, though.
Mhm.
One is with the way most crowdfunding works, if they don't hit their target goal, you just get your money back and the project is canceled. And two, there is zero guarantees whatsoever. It's
Yeah,
like it is not necessarily I am purchasing this for $5. It is I am giving you $5 in the hopes that you complete this project, and once the project is completed, you can give me these things that you promised to give me for funding this project.
that's a very good point and a very key point. There have been one of our friends, for example, crowdfunded a video game years
Oh.
ago and forgot all about it, and just completely forgot all about it. And then about half a year ago, all of a sudden gets an email, "Hey, we've upgraded you from the standard edition you've pre-ordered to this super deluxe edition because you never went away, basically." And I think he said, "Huh, if I'd have known that, if I'd have known I'd have put the money into that, I probably would have taken it back several times over the last 6 years because I could have really used it at times."
Yep.
So there again, there's no guarantee you're going to get it, which is why I tend to only crowdfund things from slightly more established people.
Yeah.
I've
There's
crowdfunded projects from a couple of my favorite creators, Marcus and Naso and Jason Muir, Malachi Bailey. I've done it through a few different people that I trust enough that they will actually get it out, and they did. Uh, I think one of them may have been a bit longer, and again, part of the problem with me in crowdfunding is that Kickstarter is linked to an old email, and I don't always check that email, for better or for worse. So I am the prototypical person who's like, oh yeah, I guess I'll actually do that, check the email, or I'll fill out the survey they need for my address, that sort of thing. So it can be a bit of a
mm,
nightmare, but
but that
yeah.
actually does make a good jumping point for hey, things to look for to, 'cause there's no guarantees. There will never be any guarantees, but there are things you can look for to make it more likely that you will actually get what you're wanting to get out of a Kickstarter. Because there's a lot of ones that you go in, they will look fancy, they have nice pretty pictures, walls of text, it looks all great, you back it, and then you don't hear anything for months, or you hear things nonstop for several years but never actually get a product out of it. I have
Mm.
had both of those, especially with video games. Video games are painful to crowdfund because most of the people crowdfunding them have no idea the actual amount of work that goes into making a video game.
And exactly, and how long it can take to make,
Yeah,
right?
so
Like,
the general thumbs, Alex mentioned one of them, like established creators tend to be a lot more on the ball just because you can look at their history and see like, oh, they've made this many projects already. They've successfully delivered on this many projects. They probably know what they're doing, and we can trust them to deliver on this one as well.
does
Another,
this mean that you are excluding some potentially great projects because the creator is brand new? Yes,
yeah, like,
yes, it does.
yeah,
However, my advice to new creators trying to crowdfund something is don't try to crowdfund your first project as being a big, big thing. Aim aim for a smaller scope.
mm,
Because once you get your reputation built up, people like me are more likely, oh, they've had a half dozen projects funded and
yeah,
delivered.
and speaking exclusively towards tabletop RPGs right now, one of the best green flags that I see when I'm looking at crowdfunding projects is because when it comes to tabletop RPGs, the main reason you crowdfund is for making physical merchandise, for purchasing art from artists, because that is a if you want good art, you should be paying your artists well, and good art is expensive. And like the actual like paying somebody to like maybe format the book, or you know have an editor go over it or stuff like that. If you're looking at a project and like, hey, the actual game system is done, we're crowdfunding to like make it pretty, green flag, because usually they'll have like a PDF of like the basic rule set that you can download and take a look at to make sure it's something you're interested in. And then once you have that, then you're pretty much paying them money to make the book pretty, and that tends to be a lot smoother because the actual bulk of the work from their end is already done. If you go in and they're talking about like, oh, we're planning on developing this system that'll do this, red flag. I don't touch it.
No, absolutely not. Like, without putting too fine a point on it, and without accusing anyone of doing anything maliciously or deliberately,
Mm.
You and I, if we wanted to, if we had the desire, could come up with a basic rule system in a Google document, develop the game together, just as and when. We're not doing it full time, but you could do it as and when. Finally get it funded or finally get it complete, and then go to Kickstarter and say, "Hey, here's our rule system. This is our cats versus zombies game." My cat is sat next to me. That is the only reason I said cats versus zombies. This is our cats versus zombies game. Now we need to pay for art to make the book look good.
Hmm.
It's I'm not going to say it's easy to develop a rule system. It is
No.
absolutely not, but it is feasible to do it beforehand. I would presume, in my case, if I was doing it and looking for money to develop it, it's because I really needed money in general, and this is a way to try and get that.
Yeah.
Whether
It's yeah.
it's going to be successful or not, I don't know.
Like, don't bring an idea to Kickstarter. Bring like a prototype to
Yeah,
Kickstarter. Especially because nowadays, with the advent of the great plagiarism machine known as AI, it's stupid easy for somebody to go in and say, like, hey, give me a pitch for RPG, and then go to an image generator and generate random art for it, then slap it on Kickstarter, and yeah, it's
I
there's a lot of it, and it's kind of gross.
just so we're aware of how easy that is, and obviously I'm not sharing screen.
Mm.
I'm going to type this into an AI.
Oh God, it's probably going to be mostly 5th edition stuff.
Probably. So as I'm doing this, I'm just going to use the idea that I started earlier. Please give
Mm.
me okay. It's spitting it out pretty good. This is really annoying because it actually looks interesting, and it's it's
Yeah,
one of those things. I'm like, all right, so this is a thing. This is a
it's a viable prompt.
it is.
Yeah, but there's nothing of actual substance behind it.
No,
Something to watch out
there is
for.
absolutely not. Um,
So
it, so once so it is now decided it's going to be a tabletop RPG game. The tagline: a tabletop role-playing game of feral heroism. Like, I want to play this. This is annoying. Tone: goofy and grim with sudden bursts of epic competence. This is really
like,
annoying, and
and I'll tell you, it's really easy
it's
to
really
whip
easy
something
to
up,
do.
and people who are less scrupulous are going to not even are going to actively are doing that.
Actively
So
are doing it,
if
and
if you're somebody who's looking to back stuff,
please be aware, folks. If you're reading this and you suddenly see something show up on Kickstarter
Starter
from
and the other
Ready
sites
Nerd Go
do.
saying cats versus zombies, I promise you, it is something we are actively going to be exploring, because I'm not saying we're going to do it, but this is something that I'm now interested in, and I wonder how hard it would be, because I need another project to work on.
Exactly. We clearly don't have anything to work on right now. No hobbies whatsoever.
No, none at all. That I imagine I'm not going to cut that out, because it was a total aside, and that was us spitballing and not necessarily thinking we're recording. However,
Mm,
if it stays in, then there we go. Right.
yeah.
Yeah, be aware of what can happen, because as you've just half read, the pitch that I threw into AI kicked back something really good and really competent really quickly. This is something that anyone less than scrupulously can do. There, as I'm looking at this going through, there is no actual rule set. It just looks good. There is no actual substance to this. It's just a really pretty polish on what is effectively nothing.
Congratulations on describing AI in a nutshell.
Basically, yeah. So now
But
I'm not
anyway,
saying that this can't be people using AI can't create something very good. It's just you need some kind of human interaction with it as well, I think.
yeah, but that
But
is
that's a rant for another
yeah.
day. I can hear Anko trying to steer me away from my AI rant. So
Because I don't want to get into it too, and we said this episode is going to be about crowdfunding, so let's yeah, not
yeah, that
not
right.
not 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 rant for 2 hours about that. But yeah, so crowdfunding, another thing to watch
Red
out
flag,
for.
green flag is what we were doing.
Yeah, so we just had a red flag, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So green flag for looking for it is a lot of them, like because these creators will usually have some form of social media that you can follow them outside of whatever backing site they're currently on. Checking them out on those, seeing how active they are is generally a good sign as well. Because like the last one that I backed, I actually backed because I was following the creator on Blue Sky, and like they were really they're really engaged in the indie community. They put out a lot of small RPGs, and they were talking about an RPG that they already have out. They've already had a couple of versions out, but they were putting out a Kickstarter to have to update a couple of the rules and like add some more stuff to the book and make a physical print copy of the book. And so like the product is already out, the product already exists. In fact, the product in question, you can go to itch.io and like you can get this game for free, but they were doing a Kickstarter so they could make physical copies of the book and add some extra stuff in for the physical copies. So it was like it wasn't, oh, are they going to make this product? Like the actual game system already exists, they just literally need the money to make the physical print copies. So something like that is like, yeah, no, I'll back this 100%. I like the system.
Hmm.
The art is very pretty. They're an indie creator, which I always try to support more often. And yeah, it was, am I 100% positive I'm going to get this physical book from them? Honestly, no, because you can never be positive when you're doing this kind of stuff. But am I happy sending this money towards them? Yes.
Yeah. And I think that's key is there already something out there that you could play or read or whatever, but again, sticking with tabletop RPGs, that you
Mm,
can play as soon as you fund it. Again, like I've had when I was backing a comic series, I backed it and almost immediately was sent a PDF of that issue. Great. That or the previous issue, or they gave me something almost immediately.
yeah,
I already had that. It was irrelevant to me, but it was really cool that they had said, "Oh, hey, cool. Here, have this."
exactly. And that actually brings up another thing that we didn't mention earlier with Kickstarters and most crowdfunding is they'll do something called stretch goals, which is like if they fund a X amount past the amount they're initially looking for, they
Mhm.
will add something in to it, usually for free for you, depending on what tier of backing you did for them. This is both the like dopamine addiction of backing these things and can also be a red flag, because if the stretch goals are like really simple stuff, like hey, we'll include like you'll get like another one of our PDFs for free, or we'll have the extra money to pay our artists more, or we'll be able to do these small little things. Great, awesome, no problem. The red flag is when the stretch goals, and a lot of RPGs do this because they don't know what they're getting into, let's be honest. A lot of them will have physical stretch goals of different types of products. They'll add like, oh, we'll add a nice like box set, and we'll add dice, and we'll add tokens, and we'll add minis. And each one of those things is another layer of complication that can have additional hidden costs that the creator might not be aware of, which can cause the project to spiral out of control.
So this is entirely off topic and
Oh God.
actually remarkably relevant. Do you remember how I mentioned that, hey, don't forget to log in to Kickstarter properly? I just
Yep.
went to one of the projects I'd backed. I'm like, I wonder how that's going on. Shipping was 99% complete 6 months ago. There were 3 backers who didn't start the survey. Guess who's
You're
one of
one of
them?
them.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm sending the guy an email like, I'm a bad Kickstarter backer. Because I just told him like, I don't think I have that. I know it's done. And if there's any issues, it's on my end because it all happened around the same time as I joined Kickstarter at the same time as I lost my primary email account for 6 months.
Oof.
And it was just, you remember the issue that I was having with that.
Yep.
And
Yes.
it was just one of those things where I never switched it back and I don't have email forwarding on. And it's just, I don't use Kickstarter enough that it was ever an issue until it becomes an issue. Yeah. And it sucks because there's a lot of stretch goals and I'm like, I really want these stretch goals. What were the stretch goals again? So I need to deal with that. But yeah, it can be very much an easy thing to do where you just forget and things happen.
Yep. But thinking in that line as well of like, oh shit, I forgot about this. Every once in a while, I like to log in to Kickstarter and just go look at all the projects I've backed that have not paid out. Now, to be fair, they're like a tenth of the projects that I've backed that I have gotten nothing back from, and most of those were like $20. So not any major loss on my part. Nothing that I'm going, oh god, I can't believe I did this. Having said that, video games were terrible to back, especially when nobody really knew what was going on with how Kickstarters worked. But the tabletop RPGs that I have, the ones that I have that haven't come yet, I am reasonably sure I will eventually get, but they are years past their expected delivery date at this point. But all of them were by established creators with prior projects that said, hey, the system is pretty much complete. So despite them, for the most part, fulfilling all of the green flags, you know, negatives still happen, especially because most of these aren't corporations. They're like 1 to 5 man crews trying to do this project all by themselves, which means if somebody gets sick, if somebody experiences like they lose their day job because very few people are doing this as their primary job, like there's so many things that can happen that will cause you to lose the project that could be
Mm-hmm.
completely unrelated to anything you could possibly predict.
Yeah.
Having
And it
said
can
that,
be, sorry,
I got
Karen.
yeah no having said I got Exalted 3rd edition, I think, long after I had forgotten about it. Because like when it was first, I was like, oh man, we're all excited for this. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it. I can't remember exactly how long it was, but I think it was like 3 to 5 years after we backed it that the backers finally got the stuff. And when I got, similar to what you're saying about, oh, we have almost everybody's gotten their stuff now. When I went and when they finally sent me my copy, because I just had the PDF, I didn't do the physical, thank fuck. But like when they finally sent me the PDF, my first thought was, what the fuck is this? And then logged in, it's like, this seems vaguely familiar.
Mm-hmm. I've had I actually backed something and had completely forgotten about it.
Hmm.
And then similar thing happened, public issues with the publisher, and they sent me a PDF, but again, same thing. I'd forgotten about going to a certain thing, the link had expired. And I was like,
Hmm.
well, I really hope they deliver on this. And they did eventually, but it's a lesson that anything can happen with that, and always pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah, especially because like 5, 10 years ago, shipping costs were significantly cheaper than they are
Mm-hmm.
now. And especially if you're backing something that has a lot of physical components or has a lot of physical rewards in the stretch goals, the shipping can add up very quickly. And like just for concept here, like the whole reason this episode idea came around is because there was a specific system that I was begging myself not to back as much as I really, really wanted to, and I didn't, and I still regret not doing it. But at the same time, I'm also very happy I didn't. It was a game called Fabula Ultima, which we are going to talk about some point in the showcase. But like the PDFs and I think some of the physical books had already been out for a very long time. But the stretch goal, but the Kickstarter was for like, hey, we're going to make a box set with like nice hardcover copies of all of these books and like a bunch of extras and stuff in with them, including art it, on the box, like the cover of the box set was art by the original Final Fantasy artist, which was just like, I need this so badly. But the complete box set was like $800 Canadian, and that's before you include shipping. And it was like, I cannot justify this for a tabletop RPG I have technically not actually played yet.
Yeah, like I understand that. I do understand that. I
Yeah,
I've just made a note that we're going to do that one eventually. I I recognize your pain because that is something I'm like, oh, I'd love. I also not that game, but similar
mm,
situation. Oh, I'd love that. Can I really justify spending that much money on that? Is it worth it? Probably.
mm,
Is it justifiable for me to spend it? Mm, in my current situation, it's a question that you want to ask yourself because maybe
yeah,
it is. Maybe you can afford it, and if you can, great, fantastic. Do what you need to do. If you
yeah.
can't, then obviously don't.
No, that is oh god, like I had the money in my toy fund. There was like nothing stopping me from being able to back this thing besides the knowledge that like, hey, I could get like a MetaQuest 3 or like multiple model kits or like a Steam Deck or like a lot of other really big ticket items that I know I would use over this, such a pretty box set with so pretty
It's
books and
so pretty, but it, again, it goes back to the what is your tolerance for the risk? Are
yeah,
you willing to risk the fact that you may very well and very easily um, not get it, or are you very easy, or are you willing to wait for the fact that hey, we may not get it, we're happy to wait for this? Like, where are you with it? Because $800 is a lot of money, and I
yeah.
totally understand that.
And it's like the people who make Fabula Ultima, I can't remember their name offhand right now, but like they're established. They have a track record. Like they are, besides the sheer amount of physical stuff
Mm-hmm.
being a bit of a one of the red flags that I mentioned to look out for. Besides that, like Kickstarter, their Kickstarter is nothing but green flags. The product is already made, the art is already made. They have like the artist contracted, and like you can check out the artist, and he has a note like, hey, he's working on this. Like it's top to bottom, it's legit green flags.
Yeah,
It's still $800 for something that things could go wrong and I might not get, and it's something that I would fucking love to play this tabletop RPG. It's in my short list that I've read like again and again and again, and it looks like something that'd be a lot of fun. But I still don't know if I'm ever going to get to it because it's on, it's part of the catalog of RPGs I own but have never played despite owning for years.
mm,
If it was like something that I was playing all the time, then yeah, I probably
totally
would have
different.
gotten that box set because it's like, hey, this is something I know I'm using. It's something I
Yeah.
know I've gotten enjoyment out of. If nothing else, like we had mentioned, I think in the last episode about how good of a value proposition tabletop RPGs tend to be.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
I'd send that money towards them even just as a like, hey, I got like so many hours of play out of this. I'm happy to throw more money your direction for this product that you're making. But I've gotten
yeah.
pleasure out of reading the PDF, but that's it.
It's one of those things where you can really enjoy some really, I don't want him to say simple, but you can really enjoy some really
Mm,
basic things when it comes to the product that you're reading. And I don't mean simple or basic as in noughts and crosses, tic-tac-toe, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's a black and white PDF with the rule set. That's all you get. You can really enjoy that and you can get a lot out of that. But if you're willing to crowdfund and really help them out, well, hey, you can get a game that looks like Eat the Reich.
Yeah. And it's just, it's, speaking of pretty. Anyway.
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of really cool stuff for it. I feel like I don't want to say we've circled around when it comes to Kickstarter, but we've definitely hit the.
I think I've covered the main points, and just like to
Mhm.
reiterate in the short list, if you're thinking about backing a Kickstarter, see what they've made previously. If they're offering like the product is finished, we just need stuff for art and like organization, that kind of stuff, green flag.
Mm-hmm.
See what they're like on social media. If there's a bunch of like physical stuff in the stretch goals, usually a red flag. Not always, but usually a red flag. And a lot of the ones who know what they're doing and have stuff ahead of time will usually have like, hey, here's a PDF to the sample rule set that you can like actually peruse and see if it's something you want. Keep those in mind. It won't guarantee success, obviously, because nothing in life is guaranteed, but it'll make it more likely that you'll actually get the stuff you're backing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really proud that neither one of us made the nothing's guaranteed but joke.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Although
so
you did just reference it, so
I referenced it, but I didn't make it. So if people don't know what it is, they can look it up.
Exactly.
I don't really know if we have anything else to talk about.
I mean, there's probably some stuff we could dredge up, but it'd be, we can be nice to our listeners and have a relatively short episode for once.
Yeah, you know what?
Game on.
Whoa, roll the dice, let's go! Destiny calls, and the dice hit the table. The heroes awaken, and the nerds are ready.
Hey, thanks for watching Board Game Today. We always appreciate your views and your support, but there are so many ways for you to support our site. Not only can you do it right here on video, but you can go and check us out at boardgametoday.com, where we have more news, reviews, interviews, everything you could ever want. But since you're here, if you could, you can always give us a like, subscribe, or share our videos or watch something else. Is always much appreciated, and get your game on.